Okay, I'm gonna cut that one off right now. You guys have heard it enough. It's gone. It's run its course. No, that's not true. I'm really glad I got around to a lesson on that. It was Scott's suggestion back about a month ago when I wrote it, and hope people are having a good time taking a look at it. I'll get to a few more comments on that. Actually, I have a lot of comments today. I'm hoping to play a lot too. I don't know exactly where I'm going yet. It's January 30th, and it is oh boy, I hope our folks on the East Coast it didn't sound like it hit New York as bad as they expected, but Boston was pretty socked in, or not socked in, I guess, iced in probably. So hope everybody has recovered from the winter storms. I wish we could get a little of that here. We've gone through a month now with no rain in California, or at least in this part of California again, and that's kind of ridiculous. So we're hurting out here, but gotta say it's a beautiful day, and that's oh well. Okay, what was I going to tell you about? Oh, the first thing is I want to give you a little report of what all happened last week. Thanks so much for the birthday wishes and stuff. It turned out to be a great weekend. Nani and I went, what did we do? Friday night, something really cool happened. Oh, my friend Paul's band was playing, well, it's a trio, 2 guitars and a female singer. We're playing at a restaurant just around the corner from here. Same place I was at, actually, with Mark LaValle, like about 2 months ago or so. And the band was playing right where our table had been set up. Weird little coincidence. And so Mark and I had a great dinner there a few months ago, and we walk in and Paul's playing. He asked me to get up and play a little bit. Now they were doing a completely different kind of stuff. They were playing Carole King songs and Carly Simon songs, as you maybe ascertained from what I said with. Floyd style jam. I'll leave it at that. But anyway, so that was one of the tunes they played that just jumped out at me as like, I used to play that once in a while, just instrumentally. Sort of like, what else? There were other songs. Anyway, songs that just ran across my radar, of course, a long time ago, and then they fell off for some reason many years ago. So what I was telling you about the story, the first story. So now this was kind of a loud place, and a lot of people in there having dinner. It was called Viva here in Los Gatos, and Paul said, "Oh, Neil, hey, you're going to get up and play a song." I'm thinking, "Oh man, this is not, I don't know. The things I've been playing lately were not really restaurant material. They weren't raucous things that are gonna. Anyway, I mean, I'm not about to go play this for a loud restaurant or any of the hardcore classical. So I'm thinking, okay, what can I play that would make them, that would grab them anyhow? So really having no idea, and he hands me his D28. I'm thinking, oh, these strings are really close together. I'm gonna try something easy. Well, I don't know about easy, but there are many songs that I've played for so long that. And that's going to lead me to another topic I meant to talk about even here, and that is, this song is a good example of something that doesn't have to go any particular way. I could change the chord progression. I'm going to go to an A chord now, and I can play anything. I can do this. So it's more just kind of like a controlled jam or controlled mayhem, I guess. And so anyway, I went into that, and luckily a few people, the guitar player in Paul's band, the other guitar player, recognized it and said, knew about John Fahey. So I figured, I better not wear out my welcome here. So I just played 2 songs, and I figured the next biggest crowd pleaser. I told them the story that when people ask like what kind of guitar, what started up my whole line of communication with Mason Williams was the whole idea that people don't know what you're talking about when you say contemporary instrumental guitar, acoustic, fingerstyle, semi-classical, and but when I say, hey, you've heard this, right? So I went into classical gas, and it was nice. Some complete strangers came up to me and said, that's the best version of classical gas I've ever heard, and I was thrilled. So really, it was fun. Okay, I'm going to shorten this the rest of the weekend story but part of it's really long. Okay, never mind. Saturday, we had a nice dinner with the kids. My 3 grown kids. So the 5 of us, we are very rarely in the same room together, but even though we all live in the same house. That was really fun to hang out with the soon-to-be grown children. Sunday, we went over and watched surfers at Steamer Lane in Santa Cruz, and it was a beautiful day. It was like 70 degrees out there, and 8 or 10 foot swells, and there were people out there doing stuff that I've only seen on TV, and a lot of them. And so we dropped by also to visit Ed Claxton and see his new little shop that he has in his house. His commute is about like mine right now. It's just outside the house in a separate building. So took the guitars over and had him take a look, and he said, wow, these are in really good shape for guitars that are this old, or anyway. So I guess people beat up guitars maybe more than I do. But it was really fun to visit with Ed. And I think that's it. Then came home and probably took a nap. So, all right, let's see. There's a bunch of stuff I want to talk about. Oh, one of them had to do with, since I brought up And Winter Glows, which was one of the lessons that we had this week, and it has to do with the levels of songs. And like what I just played there with the Carly Simon song, it could have gone lots of different ways. All I was trying to do was incorporate a little melody into the chord progression. And that's the same thing that happens in And Winter Glows, where there's really just a melody and some chords. I have other songs like this. It could almost be strummed and just pick out the melody any way you want. So those are songs that don't have to be note-for-note versions of what I put in the tab. Matter of fact, I even had it was hard for me to write the tab out for the tune, because I'd sit there and play something very slowly and write out what it was, and then I'd play through the song a little bit more at the normal speed and say, oh, that's not what I played in that measure. So the measure that happens. There's an example right there. In that measure, I could have just kept steady alternating bass going in there. Or I put in a little percussive tap. And sometimes it goes one way, sometimes it goes another. It's completely flexible and unimportant as far as the performance of the song goes. So anyway, so Gene, thanks for the comment about that. And yeah, I think that one is maybe only a level 6. Now that also leads me to the dilemma that I've talked about in the past, maybe not for a few months at least, of coming up with a level for songs, because even the Carly Simon song, it was kind of torn between, the campfire version's about a 3, and all of a sudden if we try this C major 7 chord up at the 5th fret in the G position, it's an 8, So anyway, okay, bear with me on that. Let's see. Bob, great job on the Ray LaMontagne song. Oh man, I'm never quite sure for that pronunciation. Beg, steal, or borrow, or and borrow. I don't remember if it's or and, but it was really enjoyable watching you play that. I have one suggestion about what happens when you lose the pick. Everybody should have a backup plan, and you should be able to strum with your fingers, or at least the invisible pick. So just practice, man. If that pick falls out of your hand, put your thumb and your index finger together, pretend there's one there, and just keep the exact same motion. Let those 2 nails do the work. Even if they're really short, they'll work. You can just get them at the right angle. So that's my suggestion, is make sure you can strum without a pick. A little bit more elaborate version would, of course, be strumming the way I try to teach people in the beginning, of using both sets of fingers. Your middle fingers for the downs and your index finger for the ups, reserving your thumb for bass notes. Okay, what else do I want to talk about? Good job on that, though, Bob. It was really enjoyable, like I said. What else? Oh, we had a couple of other songs. Must be C, huh? Interesting little thing in the lesson that we did, the Fly on the Wall lesson with Sandy and Four Strong Winds. When you're trying to incorporate a melody into a song, you of course want the melody to be the highest note, and then you want to get in as much of the chord as possible. And there's a problem that happens frequently on a D chord, when, especially it can be D7 if we're in the key of G, that has, if the D is the melody note, not only do we have a dilemma here in that if I play D in the bass here and I just play the A, I don't even get the whole sound of the chord. And I certainly don't get the sound of the seventh. So it's good for D chords to make sure that you have alternate plans or other voicings. And there are two I'm going to make sure that everybody keeps on their radar right now. One is, if it's a D7 chord, use the C7 shape. That gets the D, the melody on top, gets a seventh in there, and gets a third in there. We've lost a fifth. The fifth is the least important note in the chord. So the C7 shape is a good tool for getting when you have a seventh chord and the melody note is on the second string and it's the root. The D7 shape is good for that. As soon as you get higher than D, the C7 shape. As soon as you get higher than D, you're going to be at E, and now you can start using E shapes because that melody note is going to be up on the first string. The other good approach is put F sharp in the bass. I did that in And Winter Glows. Let me think, where am I? Right there. The melody comes down to D, and comes down to A, sorry, on a D chord, and I just played the D chord up here with the D in the bass. And then I thought, I don't want this to just sound the same. It's actually going to seem kind of weak. It's what we just heard. But if I change the D, the inversion of D, and use an F sharp in the bass, we now get this. And that F sharp in the bass leaves us with a slightly unstable D chord, but it also, it kind of mimics stuff we heard earlier in the song, the bass line going from A to F sharp to F natural to G, and kind of the confusion created by using all three of those notes relatively equally in the song. So, okay, I think I've talked about almost everything I want to do, except a question came up on last week's news about the lineage, patronage, or something of pumpkin pie, and I realized I think I might have played through the whole song. I can't remember, but and the story on pumpkin pie was I just having gotten back involved in this ragtime revival that I'm just loving playing, particularly Heliotrope Bouquet and Bethina, made me think, people want to play ragtime stuff, and most of those, the ones that are written for the piano, are really, really difficult to translate to the guitar and be accurate or true to what I think would make Scott happy or proud or something. And so I thought, I'm just going to write a ragtime piece. I've done a couple of others. I have, no, it's not frog. What's it called? Leapfrog rag. And then yesterday's news. that one's really rusty. The last time I played that, probably when it was new back in 1992. Anyway, story I was going here was that I thought, I'm going to write a ragtime piece, kind of like I did some of those early blues things as exercises for students. And that's where first this came out. I'm thinking, okay, this is great. This is kind of following the lines of it's going to stay in the level 5 or 6 range. It's not going to be ridiculous. And what happens next? So far, so good. I got a lot of students who can play this. Still so far, so good. After 3 lines, 12 measures. Nice little variety there, just a little moving bass part. Okay, that's hanging in there so far, that's all doable. And then the last measure. All of a sudden became a lot of voices moving in different directions. And the notes have to change, like not together. And I thought, oh, okay, this is now we're up in the 7 to 8 range, and so then I just said, forget it. I'm just gonna follow the muse and let it get kind of complicated. So with the relative failure of my mission on that, which is the same thing. This is happening in another song. Again, wait, what am I thinking of? Same story on Whodunit. Just trying to write a cool little finger picking piece about as difficult as Windy and Warm. Mission accomplished until now. Yeah. Oh well. So after about a week of working on Pumpkin Pie, I'm thinking, this is not the intermediate level piece that I wanted it to be. So I said, okay, I'm going to start from scratch, and that was the birth of The Good Life. So far, so good. So I hope, I know Gene and a few others are having a good time working on that one. I'll probably still do a lesson on Pumpkin Pie somewhere down the road, but it's more likely I'm going to do a lesson on Heliotrope Bouquet. The hard parts in these things are coming together. Lucked out there. Let's see, let's try it again. Oh, find the right fret. I never start right there. Okay, knocking these things off. I think that is it. I should just play you something. What did I play the other day that was something? Oh, just this morning I tried to play something up that was... Anyway, I'm trying to get a lot of... Oh, a friend of mine... I gotta move that block. Let's see. Enough stories. I'm going to end with something I started tackling again this week. There's more to that, but I don't know what kind of shape the other parts are in. That's the second part. There's the third part. Villalobos, Shoro number 1 of 12, but there's only one for the guitar. So, okay, that is been rambling way too long today, but hope everybody has a good transition into February. Oh, Super Bowl weekend too, I guess. So, football fans out there will be glued to the guacamole and the tube, I'm sure, huh? So, I will see you next week.